In the beginning of the movie, we see a wealthy and powerful businessman Lu Jin. He owns many restaurants and runs several business. He is a food enthusiast and spends lots of time tasting food. He checks every dish and make them perfect. He has a special talent as he can tell the ingredients of any dish just by smelling it. One day, he visits a 5-star restaurant which he is planning to buy. First of all, he is served famous dish of the place which is a beef Wellington. He tries its first bite and spits it out. He gets disappointed saying the ingredients in this dish are used in a wrong way. After that dish, he is served different special dishes but he doesn't like. At the end, the head chef is out of new dishes and the staff is also confused how to impress Jin. Then a young female chef comes forward named Gu Shengnan. She is an intern in the restaurant and has more ideas than other chefs. Now there is only 20 minutes left to impress the food critic. Shengnan accepts the challenge but all other chefs make fun of her. She prepares a new dish and sends to Jin. When he smells it, suddenly he feels something and gets excited. He remembers the dish is a Romanian called spaghetti alla strega. Jin also knows that it's made by a woman. The dish belongs to the females of Romania origin. The ingredients in the dish are very carefully measured. He realizes that it's a traditional dish which doesn't allow any other makeover. The chef has made the dish so perfect that finally Jin gets satisfied with taste. He eats it all and also clean the plate. Now he decides to stay at that restaurant for some days to taste its more dishes. The manager enters the kitchen and tells everyone Jin's comments about dish. She realizes that Jin has a great knowledge of tastes. Shengnan decides to cook more dishes for him till he stay there. She is dating the restaurant's manager who always takes her advantage. He makes her cook for him on the days when she is busy. One day, after enjoying her dish, he tells her that he wants to break up with her. He says she is too skinny for him. She is heartbroken but she doesn't argue with him. Later, when Jin comes in the parking area to drive, he notices Shengnan scratching his car. He doesn't recognize her as he never meets her in person. Thinking that car belongs to her boyfriend, she scratches it to express her anger. When Jin threatens her, she realizes that she is at the wrong floor. Realizing that's Jin's car, she apologizes to him and promises to clean the scratches. In the night, she gets drunk and goes to the rooftop. Meanwhile, Jin is making noodles in his room. He realizes that the 2 minutes dish is very difficult to make although he has a talent to measure the ingredients. When he is about to enjoy his dinner, someone falls outside his room. He sees that it's Shengnan who is drunk and has fallen from the roof. When she refuses to leave his room, he puts her into a suitcase and keeps her in the lift. The hotel staff find that suitcase and screams thinking her to a dead body. Later, we see Jin is locked inside a cell with other criminals. Shengnan explains to the police what happened last night. Later, Jin's secretary arrives and bails him out. Jin is very angry with Shengnan and hopes not to meet her again. But unluckily they encounter with each other the next day. Shengnan is playing with kids in the park and accidentally destroys a beehive. The bees attack on Jin, and his face gets swollen. Jin gets frustrated with her. Then he gives her a watch that will alert her if he is near her. He asks her to maintain a distance when she hears watch's alert. She promises Jin that she will run away as soon as she hears the watch sound. The next day, he orders several dishes to test chef's talent. Now he easily gets impressed with Shengnan's new dishes but he doesn't know that chef's identity. He likes her cooking so much that he orders other dishes that were not listed in the menu. That day, Shengnan cooks till midnight and gets tired but he doesn't show any exhaustion of eating. Then she puts squid ink on her dish, showing that she is running out of ideas. He gets the message and stops asking for more dishes. The next day, Jin appears in an interview. He is asked many questions about the suitcase incident. Meanwhile, Shengnan realizes that the food critic is none other than the guy who asked her to stay away from him. When her watch is about to ring, she tries to run from there but falls into the swimming pool. In the following scene, Jin wants the chef to show her creativity. He sends her 3 different themes and asks her to cook according to symbolize these themes. The themes are a place, time and a movement. She chooses the first theme and makes extra spicy seafood, symbolizing summertime. Jin tastes the dish and feels satisfied. The second belongs to a place and Jin smells rosemary that reminds him of a famous lighthouse. He understands that the place is the Shanghai. At last she prepares pork with matcha seasoning that realizes Jin the famous Japanese tea movement. He is very impressed by her presentation. Meanwhile Shengnan is also impressed that he found the exact meaning what she was trying to show him with every dish. In dessert, she requests to make a simple dish. The dish is a cake made up of ingredients from the USA, Canada and the UK. That's the places where Jin has lived in for years. He realizes that the dish represents his journey. He notices a truffle on the side of cake. He asks the manager to bring the chef so she can explain to him about it. But Shengnan sends another chef with her message. He tells him that the truffle shows power as it grows underground and eats everything around it. Shengnan believes that Jin is a like truffle, that's why she has used it. He doesn't believe the chef and goes into the kitchen to find Shengnan. But she leaves the place before he finds her. Later, they encounter with each other in the washroom. He smells the scent of the ingredients from her clothes and realizes that she is the female chef. The following day, he turns off his watch and quietly catches her in the kitchen. She admits that she is the female chef and also tells him that the truffle was to show his attitude. Jin is pleased and praises her for understanding his true self. Later, he gets a call from his father, Mr. Liu. He asks him to return to the business as he has spent a lot of time tasting food. In the morning, when he orders his food, he is told that the chef is on a leave. Jin rejects the other chefs and only wants to eat Shengnan's food. So he visits her apartment and brings all the ingredients with him. He asks her to make a dish for him. He finds her home messy, so he organizes her things to make a sitting for him. When she joins him at table, he asks her to eat in the kitchen because he likes to eat alone. Shengnan curses him for being rude with her. When she comes out, she finds him sleeping on her couch. He finds her couch very comfortable. After some hours, he wakes up and finds Shengnan sleeping in her room. The next morning, he arrives again to his apartment and asks her to cook another dish for him. After eating, he falls asleep on her couch once again. The next day, he brings a sheet to cover the couch to make it more comfortable. As time passes, he starts bringing his clothes and all his personal things to the apartment. On the other side, Shengnan finds hard to sleep because of his snoring habit. One afternoon, Jin invites her to eat with him and they enjoy the food together. They tried blowfish for first time, but they are unaware that can cause hallucinations. Soon they start feeling uncomfortable. They feels it is raining in the apartment and stay under an umbrella. Then they start talking over useless things. Later, they go outside for a walk and still feeling it's raining, but the weather is totally dry. They goes inside a bus and Jin feels normal. He finds that everyone is looking at them and asks Shengnan to put the umbrella down. But she doesn't listen to him and starts doing weird things. At the end of the night, he brings her home and puts her on the bed. In the following scene, 2 days have passed and Shengnan has not seen Jin since they ate together. She also goes to his apartment to meet him but doesn't find him there. Then she goes to his house and finds him enjoying a meal made by his female chef. She has been working for him for 7 years. Now the two women feel each other as rivals and try to impress Jin. Shengnan gets frustrated while going back to her apartment. The next day, Jin's personal chef comes to Shengnan and asks her to be an assistant chef for him. But she gets angry and asks her to get out of there. In the night, Jin comes to her apartment to see her. He has never felt so close to someone in his whole life than Shengnan. He feels scared of losing her, but he is confused about their relation. The next day, he goes to the restaurant and fires all the employees. He decides to buy that hotel and uses it for something else. He tries to talk with Shengnan, but she doesn't want to listen to him. At dinner, he invites his chef to join him and she gets surprised to hear that. She tells him that she has only made one meal for him as she always does. She says she can't be more than a chef to him. Jin is about to leave the city in few hours and wants to meet Shengnan one last time. But later he drops the idea. When he meets his father, he finds him disappointed with him. He asks him why he lets his personal interest in his business. After a long conversation, they shares meal together and Jin asks him if he has ever been in love with someone. He tells him that he doesn't support anything that don't suit his business. At this moment, he realizes that he is not like his father. He takes the flight back to Shanghai to meet his love. Meanwhile, Shengnan is about to sell the watch which Jin gave her. But suddenly it starts ringing, showing Jin's presence. When she sees him, she takes a taxi because she doesn't want to meet him. But Jin follows the taxi and ends up in a crowded place. He follows the watch's signal and finds it with a dog. The dog takes him to the place where she has locked herself. She refuses to meet him, but she gets surprised when he tells that she is the only true friend he met in his life. He confesses his feelings and asks her to come with him. She makes him to say that she is the hottest person in the world. After this, they both go to Shengnan's apartment place, but Jin takes her to a different apartment which has a beautiful view of the sky. Then they watch sunset together and here the movie ends.